वेलकम टू द लॉन्च कास्ट।
थैंक यू।
तो ऑफ कैमरा तो हमने बात की, राइट? सो कुछ फॉर्मल नहीं रखेंगे, जैसे चल रहा था वैसे ही बात करेंगे, राइट? बट टू बिगिन विथ, राइट, आई हैव अ लिस्ट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस, द थीम बीइंग दैट आई वांट टू एक्सट्रैक्ट द most amount of product learnings out of you in 1 hour at least. जहाँ पे your journey in Grofers, mainly because the timing when you ended your story in Grofers was कि थोड़ा टाइम बाद ही it rebranded as BlinkIt, right?
Yes.
So I want to know how the product phase was going on by then, right? Then at Meesho, because at Meesho you integrated many AI ML things, right? आपने and you identified many issues, you solved it, right? You have written articles about it. I've gone through them too, so वो भी discuss करना है. And then your current story at Fam, that what did you see at Fam, and how are things going on? So give your small intro, right? So people have a context on whom are we talking today.
Sure. Okay. So yeah, I'm Gagan Mahajan. I have been in product management all my life. One of those few people who accidentally landed in product management as their first job, and luckily loved the job so much that never wanted to go out of it. I have worked at 3 companies before FAM. Number one being Sheroes. It's a women-only community platform. So spent about 3 years there. Built a 0 to 1 community platform. It was earlier a jobs platform for women. Then we also added a community platform. So that was the first 0 to 1 product management stint. Then became the growth product manager for that particular product. After spending about 3 years at Sheroes, I decided to move to Grofers. Grofers was a strong consumer focused company in Delhi NCR at the time. I was looking at options in Delhi NCR. So joined their growth team as an APM, Associate Product Manager. And luckily over the period of 2 years, I've gotten chance to do anything growth, be it working with performance marketing, be it referrals, be it activation of users, retention of users, worked on programs like gamification, subscription and loyalty. So super fortunate to be there at that stage. I think closer to the last 6 months of that stint, Grofers started experimenting on not just value conscious customers but also convenience customers, which is where this BlinkIt 10-minute delivery model started to be experimented. I think came from a consumer insight at a leadership level, and then we started experimenting. While the premise was really exciting for most people, I wanted to work in more mass consumer focused market, not just niche top 1% of India. Maybe at some point I will, but at that point I did not. So decided to look for companies which are very strong consumer focused and product first companies. When I say product first, user first in general. So again, fortunate enough to land at Meesho. This was during COVID 2020, and the last 5.5 years at Meesho have been nothing short of like a miraculous time in my life from a product growth as well as individual and professional growth perspective. At Meesho, I have worked on almost anything you can think on the consumer side. When I joined, Meesho was a reseller focused consumer platform where a reseller would make an order on behalf of an end consumer. Was working on the shopping experience side, but then Meesho also decided to take a pivot to B2C. So was a part of that pivot as well. I also worked on pricing projects. Pricing affects consumers directly, so pricing projects at Meesho, some core strategies that we did there. Majority of my 5.5 years have been spent into AI ML time, so search, recommendation, personalization, the traditional platform teams, but we solved them from a very user first lens, so we can go into detail once we get into there. So yeah, that's been the Meesho part. Closer to the last 1 year at Meesho, I worked on content platform, which is basically selling through affiliates, and these are video affiliates on platform and off platform. On platform there were reels that would become video shopping experience, off platform influencers sharing videos on products that would drive. Another part in the last 1 year was advertisements, so how seller run ad. So yeah, that's been the journey at Meesho. More recently I've joined FAM. It's been about couple of months only. But yeah, I think super excited to learn about this space. Have started to get massive respect for the payment companies in general, the amount of fraud protection, the amount of use cases that you have to handle. So I think, yeah, the ecosystem that has been built by NPCI, super excited to learn from this. And FAM's mission is to raise a generation that is financially aware. That mission just inspires me and excites me every single day. So yeah, that's where I am.
Great. So let's start from the beginning, right? You did a BSc, right, in computer science.
Yes.
So in the current situation, right, जब किसी को even after engineering they want to get into product, right? I personally believe, and around me also, my friends, everyone have done this, who got into product just after college. They joined very 0 to 1 or 1 to 10 startups.
Yes.
The reason being कि ये startups आपको एक opportunity देते हैं to fail.
Okay.
Right? Because there are no systems. There are systems being kept in place right now.
Okay.
So even if your theory gets wrong, even if your hypothesis gets wrong, as a PM you have the opportunity to correct it in a very shorter time.
Okay.
जो corporates में नहीं होता.
Okay.
Right? Because I think the product cycles in corporates are much larger.
Okay. Yes.
How was the story about at your time, and why did you think college के तुरंत बाद you want to get into product? Right?
Okay. I think most people don't know this story. I did BSc with computer science from Delhi because the year I was choosing college, my family decided to move to Delhi, and I said ki to me, I don't know, whatever the thing was, there was some confidence ki as long as I have computer science, I'll see things through, because that's one thing I always loved, ki technology and computer science has been the case. So I decided to choose a college which is good enough but also has computer science for me. I had just about on the margin rank for NIIT, and Delhi mein there is always this NIT ka or IITs ka 85% quota. My education is from Meerut, so I could not get a decent college in engineering. And the love for computer science was always there, so I said, if not engineering, we'll still have to figure it out. So applied for Delhi University colleges, and usme bhi one, that St. Stephen's, because it was a good college. Otherwise I would have dropped any year, most likely. So picked St. Stephen's, and St. Stephen's mein ek hi course tha, BSc Computer Science. Applied for that, luckily got through. Over the next 2 years, like, my life changed for good. I realized that not only do I enjoy computer science, but also enjoy building things with people. And hence we revived the society at the time, the ComSoc at St. Stephen's, and super proud to see some of the fests that we started at that time are still running. So that's been my love for computer science and technology. Just like any other person, I also applied for placements, got through a marketing analyst role in my first job. That got pushed by 1 month. The joining date for that particular job was roughly about, I remember, 3 June, got pushed to 3 July. I felt like I want to do something with these 30 days. So I posted something on a Facebook group called Delhi Startups, because I knew that that's where most of the startups are in Delhi NCR. Said that, hey, I'm available for a 21-day project. Happy to do anything from coding, data analysis, etc. That's where the founder of Shiro's replied, come meet us in our Noida office. So next couple of days I met them, had a couple of conversations, they liked me. They offered an internship for 21 days. On those 21 days, I was offered a data analysis project. This data analysis project was around me analyzing question and answers that women who have taken career break, they're asking from women who have established careers in the societal sense. So my job was to analyze this. There was no AI tool at the point, so I had to almost like label every data and do an analysis. Loved it. In my report, I not only submitted the insights, but I realized that from this data I can say there is a need to be heard by women. They just want to be assured that this will go through. And that's where I recommended that we should also just build a calling helpline or an app. And I just created, I did not know it was called Wireframe at the time, but I said, this is how this can be shown to the customer in my report. That's, I think that got the eye of the CEO. She said that, hey, looks like you have knack for product management, come join us, I'll match your offer from campus placement. It was a very easy decision for me because for the 21 days, I loved the people there. I was getting all the autonomy I needed, and culture was crazy good. And I think that's what has stayed through my life, that people and culture are probably the most important part of any place where I work. Took that role, and that's how I landed in product management without understanding what product management was. I still remember my day one of product management job. There was this site called Tutorials Point. I searched on it, what is product management? That was day one of my job. So yeah, that's how I landed it. But I can tell why I loved it. I think probably the biggest reason is the love that I have for like speaking to customers and understanding their problem and solving them. I think that love goes through. If I have a bad day, I'll just speak to 5 customers, I'll get energized right there. So that's about product management, how I have come to be, and I've loved this job.
In one of your contents, you said that Shiro's was all about growth hacking with zero budget, right?
Yeah.
So, as a fresher, right, when you joined it, what were those growth hacks that you figured out and you applied without any budget, right? Also, how did they turn out, in a sense that you knew that because in PM also there are many different types of PM. How did they apply into real business, and what gave you the confidence that probably growth is the vertical which probably I might want to choose in the future?
Honestly, I have not thought of like domain specific product management in general. If the need of the company at the time is growth, I'll do growth. If the need of the company at the time is, let's say, scaling MLAI, I'll do that. If the need of the company is basically solving for profitability, I'll do that. Personally, I have not attached myself to any domain. At the time, I remember the company was in, I think, seed to Series A stage. The product market fit was strong in the jobs platform. So we were getting some revenue from companies who wanted assisted services, and we were getting decent traffic. So product market fit was there. The job was, how can we grow this user base and also the revenue, right? At that time, we did not measure the revenue. I was consumer product manager. So, but the problem was to increase the user base on a product that was, this is first year at Shiro's. The second and third year were community building products. So I'll come to 2 phases of growth. The phase 1 was existing jobs platform. Honestly, this was first year of job. I would say that I did not measure everything right in that first year, but there were some things at the time that used to work for growth. I don't know how relevant it is today, but SEO, search engine optimization, was an organic growth channel. So Google used to show on Google Search Console our rank, average page rank. So we created 2-3 things. One is like consistent article on these things, which was almost like a hygiene, but we also started adding courses that people might find valuable. And these courses start to surface on Google search engine a lot more, that improved the page rank. So this was one of the growth hacks. You can say that organically, if people are searching work from home and flexible jobs, there are not just jobs, there are also courses that can make them ready. So that increased our credibility on search engines. This was one. I also remember a lot of changes in robots.txt, some standard practices around SEO. So you can say SEO was one growth hack that we did. The second was, I don't know, most of the people don't realize that this is 2015. 2015 is a year where mobile penetration was starting. Every website was trying to become mobile first, and Google gave better rankings to companies which were mobile first. So we picked up a project to make the entire website. It was a web-based app, not a Android app per se at the time. So because job search was happening on computers primarily. So converting the entire site into responsive website was another growth hack that we did, and it immediately improved our page rank and a lot of organic traffic. Right. Third is basically keyword optimization. So these were the organic ways of doing that. I think the one thing that we did, so this is phase 1, right, where organic traffic came into play. Job market doesn't usually have a lot of word of mouth, but what does have a word of mouth is social products. So once we got into that community building, maybe I can talk about that insight separately, that what led us to community building. But once, let's say, the community product was established, community product had a lot of growth hacks. What were these growth hacks? You are trying to create an engagement first product. So how do you measure growth? If people are spending time, there is likeliness for them to come back, and they'll continue to come back, right? And if they start using the product, there are social enough users, they will tell other people. So engagement based products. So we started doing community chats at fixed interval. At the time, it was something that was not as common. The one thing I remember was that our users were very they had a lot of time, so we started a quiz. And this quiz was about trivia in general, Bollywood, etc. How we embedded referral was very interesting into that. You get one life if you get one answer wrong. After that, no lives. But if you want to get a second life, get someone else to play the quiz. So that's how people, and the reward to win the quiz was some Paytm cash at the time. So these were the things that started a lot of engagement, these hacks. Referrals were very common at the time. So I would say the only thing that we experimented with was cash versus wallet cash versus some discount coupons. I think wallet cash won because of its ease of access and perceived value compared to, let's say, a partnership coupon, etc. So I think these were the things that we tried for growth hacking. These are very early years. But I'll tell you, the mindset at the time was simple. Talk to users, see what their lifestyle has, pick that thing that has the most social activity, try to convert it into a product and build an organic social behavior. That's how quiz came into play, that they used to have a lot of chit chat, they'll discuss Bollywoods, etc. So why not get that online? So yeah.
Got it. Recently I was talking to a PM from Google. Right?
Okay.
And I had asked him that, according to you, what's the definition of a good PM, right?
Okay.
And उसने same चीज़ बोली थी that the real job of a PM is to get user insights, not focus on the internal processes.
I completely agree.
Yeah, this aligns to that.
No, I think the most common skill for a product, or most important, I'll correct myself actually, the most important skill for a product manager is to be a user evangelist. You are gonna be the strongest proponent for fighting for users' value. There will be enough people who will question you on viability of a business, but you have to be so sure of the value you'll give to the user that you can fight anyone or influence anyone with that strength. I think most PMs are starting to offload that to AI now, which is a concern for me.
Why do you think that's a concern for you? Because so this is a very debatable thing, right? What's your thought on this? That user research, getting insights from the data, was supposed to be a manual task where the PM or any analyst who's doing it has the grip of the data, right? He knows inside out. Now we trust an LLM to do it, right? Are you against it, or do you support it? Because in a way, LLMs also do have good quality of labeling or knowledge which probably I might lack, right? So what's the perfect mix for it?
I think I would say, if you say only AI for every insight, I'm strongly against it.
Okay.
So AI has to be your assistant. The judgment needs to come from you. You ask for a good mix. A good mix would be you doing the user research, you speaking to the user, AI making that note, AI generating insights, you vetting those insights and adding your own perspective to that insight. The final perspective should come from you, and that judgment any AI cannot give. So a recent example I did, we were trying to do some research on gaming, how people play Free Fire around Fam only, and we were trying to see, there is something called Google Play Redeemable Codes, GPRC, that is used to purchase in-game items, right? A lot of users, we were trying to see, can we increase the coverage of GPRC? Can we get users to change behavior to GPRC? If I had fed those calls to an AI, it would have come out with the bias, yes, we can strongly change that behavior by simplifying the experience, right? But from those calls, I realized that the reason people are not using GPRC but in-app payment or UPI from the app is because the need to make a purchase starts in a game, not outside the game. That judgment was applied by me after understanding the users, after hearing those conversations one-on-one with them myself. And AI would have just made the notes and said no, yes, because of the bias that I am trying to understand, will experience beat it or not? AI would have been a yes man here.
Got it.
So I think that judgment has to come into play. So you can't offload that judgment to AI today. At least AI is not that smart today.
Got it. Okay.
And I'll also add to that, you can't outsource empathy to AI.
I have heard this on your content somewhere.
Yeah.
But I mean, the AI world is going too fast. I might be optimistic about it that probably in a week, probably in 6 months or a year, we might find something more better, right? Yeah. So anything can happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. When you moved from Shiros to Grofers, right? What was the reason for this switch? I mean, in a way that Shiros was a startup, Grofers is relatively a big company where systems are in place, right? So what changed for you with that switch? What was the magnitude that you expected versus what you faced, right? And as a new PM, right, who has worked in startups, how do you gauge that? Because I feel that working in startups versus working in a relatively big company, the compass for you to measure your success or failure is different.
Absolutely.
Right. So how do you define those directions for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Grofers, I would still say, was a startup when I joined it, but yes, bigger than what I have been. So maybe I'll address this in those three parts as you mentioned. The first part I'll answer is like what made me switch. Second part I'll answer is basically what I experienced differently, and third, how did I get my foot in the door that yes, now I'm sorted at Grofers. So the reason for switch was fairly simple. Shiros was in growth phase. We were doing only growth at the time, and I think the product I have built and grown for some time, and this was still very early in my career, 3 years into my career. I think that curiosity was also always there, that what else is there in the market. And the one thing I was fairly clear in the next 1.5 or 2 years I will not get was a very strong revenue model driving business, right? Because growth will always be the focus. It's a consumer social platform. Yeah. Facebook did not make money for the first 5-7 years. So that would be the case. So I wanted to understand the business side of things. That was one. So I applied for companies which have proven it in the market on the sense of revenue. Yeah. Right. So Grofers being a grocery business, daily P&L was absolutely important, cost per order, revenue per order, because it's clearly a logistics plus consumer business. So that was something that was very appealing to me. Fortunately, I got in. So, and what I also learned about Grofers was trying to change its culture to more user first and product first at the time. So that appealed to me as well. So hence I decided to move. Second part, what did I experience differently when I moved from Shiros to Grofers? I think number one, engineering teams are fairly sorted. Like this, my previous company, I had to introduce Agile. This company knew Agile much better than what we did, and I loved the way engineering worked. Like so much ownership. If there is something that the user is telling, they will log themselves into Jira, fix it. So you don't need a PM for that. So I think that was something I still I'm in touch with some of the best engineers I've worked with at Grofers. So yeah, that was one very different thing, that systems were in place, systems that are actually user first systems that was in place. The difficult part was there were hierarchies, right? In my previous company, I was just right away telling the CEO, here's my proposal, what do you think? CEO will give 1 or 2 input and then we'll execute. Here I have to first report to a VP product, will then report to, let's say, a CTO, who will then report to a CTO and then a CEO. So that's how the hierarchy was. So you'll need approval from everyone in some shape or form. However, there was fairly good autonomy, by the way, yet you'll need some buy-ins. I think I struggled with that a lot. I think one of my earliest feedback was you need to learn how to manage different people. And it's absolutely, manage stakeholders, as we call it, influence stakeholders. I sucked at it. I think I was like, why are you creating so much friction for me? This is an obvious thing for the user. They would push me to think further. They would push me to think. And that's something that I realized later. Once I realized it, I think I internalized that yes, given a scale, you can't push everything to production because things will break. So for a big company, the reason the cycle slows down is because the number of use cases, because of the amount of users that you have, increase, and this is where users' money is involved. I'm making a transaction. You can't keep those ends open or loose. So that's where I understood. I empathize with that situation. I was fortunate to have some good mentors who made me sit and understand this, why there is a system in place, and I started to have respect for the system. That's when I navigated it much better. And what changed is like the way I used to approach problems, that rather than saying I'm going to seek approval, my perspective changed to I'm going to propose something. If they have relevant inputs, this is only going to improve my product. and then I'm going to ship it better. It increases my chances of success and impact. So that perspective shift came into play. I was able to set the foot right and luckily got the best opportunities after that. So in a matter of like 2 years, got to work on so many diverse things thanks to the growth mindset that I had at the time. And I hope to continue with that.
Got it. I mean, the insight which you gave for the systems in place, right? I feel that when a company grows, right, the systems in place plays both parts, right? It can make the growth slower too, and it can make it right too. So in your whole career, right, how do you navigate through the pivot dilemma, right? This is something which I have also faced, right?
Okay.
And I think every PM or anyone will have faced, right, that we feel the user wants X, but the management or the leadership thinks that they need Y.
Oh.
Or or for a PM they are given the decision that okay, execute this. Probably as a PM person you don't agree to it, you feel that it's not needed or it's extra, but you need to do it because it's said to be, right? So how do you gauge this system, right? Because I think it happens both in startups and in corporates also.
Everywhere.
Right, as a PM you are given a project that
it may not work.
Yeah, it may not work, or probably it's not the right time to do it, but because someone wants it, no, you do it.
No, that's where actually happens. I think that's where a PM needs to let go of what I call as PM ego, that I will decide what to build, versus the idea coming from someone. I think I'll give two perspectives to it. One is basically focus on the problem to be solved. I think solution will change if do you align with the problem to be solved or not? That's more important. If you don't, I think you will not build a successful product. And I think it is okay to ask time, even if it is 2 days, to say, can I build my conviction on the problem that you are saying? I'll give you an example from my own career. My first project at Meesho, it came from the CEO that we need to build web stores for resellers. So we need to build because web stores reduces their effort to share links with each person individually of different products. They'll just share their web store ka link and their end consumers will browse through those stores. And the ultimate objective was converting all those orders directly from consumers as well and giving reseller the same commission that they want. But no hassle of placing the order on behalf of the consumer will pay. So hassle of discovery and hassle of payments was sorted, or placing an order. That was the hypothesis. Actually fair, no? That for a reseller, if you reduce that convenience, they'll be able to increase their scale. I aligned with the problem. But what I did not, this was my first project. So I went to resellers, I spoke to like 20 plus resellers, 20 plus consumers, built my own research over 1 week, 1.5 weeks, and came back that the problem is real. But the reason payment will not work is the end consumer is putting their trust into the reseller. The reason they're not paying to an online platform, they're paying it to the reseller. And that is the reason they're shopping online. So if we build an experience which removes reseller from the shopping journey, it will not work. What can definitely work is better discovery of variety, but payment will not happen. And I created surveys, user callings, verbatims from the user, recordings from the user, just to say that building an entire flow is not worth it. Can we build a discovery flow? And then we simplified it, added more shareable catalogs, etc. But then everyone aligned that discovery is the right problem. The trust problem will not be solved. So I had to say no to the first project that the CEO gave me. This very first project. The company understood the research. The company was user first and said, yes, let's not do it. Then they created a separate arm to solve it for sellers, not for resellers. So the second part that I was saying, one is like first align yourself to the problem. The second part is also, I would say, if you don't, then bring data. Don't just say, I don't think so. If you have data, let's go with data. If you have an opinion, most likely you'll go with the highest authority in the room, right? That's how it works. So build your opinion, build your judgment with data, and then start to align. And even after that, let's say the data is not sufficient, then it's okay once every while to say, I am disagreeing but committing to it. Because I will learn or you will learn. Someone will learn out of it. But don't take it to your ego. That no, I said so, that it will not work. Rather go with what if it works, what will I learn? So that open mindset is So one part is align yourself on the problem. Second is be open to getting proven wrong.
Got it. I think this one was needed. He knows.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to go more into Grofers' journey, right? When you joined Grofers, it was in a very different stage versus from what
BlinkIt.
it is right now, right?
Yeah.
How were those recommendation engines? How were those price point benchmarks, right? Made it Grofers at the first place that because in the current situation, Zomato, Swiggy, kahin pe bhi, we will see recommendations engine, right? Grofers was very initial player, right? There was no
Grofers and
benchmark.
Big Basket.
Yeah, big basket also, right? So तब वहाँ पे recommendations का कोई template नहीं था, right? There was no research on it, there was no frameworks on it that you get someone who knows it. Grofers built it themselves, right? So how was this recommendations engine built, right? What was the logic behind it? What are the fundamentals, foundations of it?
Yeah, I'll also be honest. I think till the time I was at Grofers, heavy MLAI was not used. It was some MLAI, not neural networks. I would say regression models to some extent. Those were the ones being used. But I think maybe the philosophy, the answer that you're looking for, I'll try to get to it. Let me try with a non-recommendation example, and then I'll take it to the example. Have you observed that when you're shopping for fashion products, you see a listing page and then a detail page with add to cart button?
Yeah.
What happens when you shop for grocery? What is the flow?
We just add it to cart.
You just add it to cart. Why?
Because the specifications are not needed there.
Specifications are already known to you, right? If you are buying a Maggi, there is no validation of rating, review, quality, right? These are the things that companies like Grofers, Big Basket understood at that point in time from customers. So on grocery listing pages, you will see add to cart button on the listing page. On product pages, you will see add to cart button on the details page, because there the decision making happens after ratings reviews. So in products you trust, you can right away add to cart. How did this get uncovered? This gets uncovered by talking to users, how they make that decision. So a very visual example of how design changes by users thinking. Yeah. Now let me come back to recommendations here. While doing grocery shopping, one of the easiest thing is your monthly cart repeats.
Yeah.
Month start, and then your refill cart middle of the month also repeats. So buy again was the biggest recommendation engine. Nothing like that was the biggest contributor to recommendation. What did we do? Just observed consumer behavior, right? The other is now coming to, let's say someone searched atta generically. What part of it, how did we build recommendation? These were the things that got implemented in the search one. After talking to users, there were always some regional patterns. Let's say if you search oil, Fortune would be the one coming in north, sunflower oil, soybean will be coming in north, sunflower oil will be coming in south, because these two regions have different patterns. So from data, so one is user insights, the other is from data you will try to understand some patterns and you will try to build regression systems. Okay, if someone from north is searching oil, then you have to understand what is the brand preference, what is the product type preference. So you'll build a regression model that will have these as features, that, and then it will create a matching score. But all of it is, I still would want to reiterate, comes from users understanding, whether their understanding comes from calling, talking to them, or from data. Another example is atta. If you're searching atta, rice bran atta is south, Ashirwad atta is north. Now even south has started getting more Ashirwad atta because of all the people who have shifted from different places, right? So this understanding from user and data is what these companies leveraged at the time, and it stays true till now. The best companies have either figured out technologies that can understand their users better from data, like the likes of ByteDance, TikTok, or they have built really good recommendations engine for the likes of Meesho and all, where they've understood user really well. So that's, to me, for any recommendation engine comes from deep understanding of user from qualitative and quantitative data.
Got it. And in the current time, how are these frameworks changing? I mean, I know the fundamentals remain the same.
Yeah.
That user data, user insights are very important. उसके बिना कुछ नहीं होता. But how are the tools changing? How are these predictions changing? Because probably one part of it which I would think is, I could be wrong, right? But what I'm thinking right now is it could be that okay, ये बंदा हर रोज़ आता है ग्रोफर्स पे, वो 6 अंडे एक ब्रेड का पैकेट खरीदता है, तो हर सुबह मैं उसको ये रेकमेंड करूँगा. द सेकंड थिंग कुड बी कि ये बंदा रोज़ 6 अंडे एक ब्रेड का पैकेट लेता है, क्या मैं उसको साथ में एक चीज़ का स्लाइस बेच सकता हूँ, राइट? सो नाउ फर्स्ट इज आई एम यूजिंग द डेटा इन द यूजर इनसाइट्स. द सेकंड पार्ट is I'm thinking on myself कि can I categorize this into one cohort, एक basket में, and can I sell it to them, right?
Absolutely.
So
it's called upsell recommendations.
Yeah. So how? Yeah, that's a technical term for it, right?
Yeah.
So how do this upsell and cross-sell recommendations engine work?
ये भी डेटा से आता है, ये भी डेटा से आता है. आपके पास जो इंसाइट आई, आपको एक बिहेवियर की होगी ना अंडरस्टैंडिंग दैट यार मैं तो खरीदता हूँ. तो व्हाट यू विल ट्राई टू फाइंड, इज देयर सम कोहोर्ट ऑन योर प्लेटफॉर्म दैट रेप्लिकेट्स दिस बिहेवियर. तो क्यों कर रहा होगा वो? क्योंकि दैट इज अ नीड, एन एग्जिस्टिंग नीड. बट देन can I make discovery of that cheese easier for the remaining people? And if the discovery is easier, they will actually add. So that behavior should exist on your platform, even on let's say 3% cohort. That will give you some validation. And then for those 3% users, you should call them up ki why they add cheese. So even if you have a hunch, look in data whether that behavior is replicated. If it is replicated, then go for it.
Got it.
So that's there. But डार्क में भी आप स्टार्ट कर सकते हो. लेट मी ट्राई. यूजुअली आई डोंट रेकमेंड. हैव अ जजमेंट, हैव एन ओपिनियन एंड वैलिडेट दैट ओपिनियन विद दैट. The other part that you mentioned, maybe if you want, I can talk about the most complicated recommendation system I have seen at Meesho. So, जैसे मैंने अभी linear regression बोला, then we started with let's say 2-tower model of prediction of relevance, something. I'm using a technical term, but eventually it became neural networks. And now even beyond neural networks, now it's a combination of neural networks and Gen AI. So the technology, the fundamental stays the same. The technology keeps getting better. TikTok, ByteDance is another crazy neural networks. So I can go into deep, but yeah, that's how the technology has evolved.
Okay, let's go into deep.
Okay.
So, ठीक है. The reason I picked this up is because I have always observed this with Amazon and Flipkart. कि अगर मैं एक जूते खरीद रहा हूँ, then they will recommend it कि यार ये जूते के साथ ना ये जीन्स अच्छी लगेगी. हाँ, सॉक्स ले लो और ये जीन्स भी अच्छी लगेगी. अगर मैं टी शर्ट डाल रहा हूँ तो उसके साथ भाई ये वॉच अच्छी लगती है.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's how
the look.
Yeah. They sell you the whole set of clothes कि सब कुछ एक साथ आ जाए. That's why. And yeah, coming back to it, right? What are these things which you have seen at Meesho and worked upon, right? And how do they work right now? Because as a user, it enhances your experience a lot.
Yeah.
Here, you feel that this app is understanding me.
Absolutely.
But what is going behind it?
Okay, cool. I think we'll go into some technical territory here.
Works.
I'll take an example of the project that I've worked at Meesho, which goes as close. You've seen Flipkart, Amazon, इनके home pages पे I think अब शायद थोड़ा और change हो रहा है. For the longest time, category and widgets थे.
Yeah.
कि shop this widget. Widgets are like basically recommendations in terms of categories. Or let's say offer categories, etc. We at Meesho had an infinite product first feed. It is still there. Just ऊपर top में categories और उसके बाद infinite feed है और कुछ नहीं है. So this infinite feed of product, unless it understands you, you will end up finding it irrelevant. So there's a lot of logic that has gone into just improving the personalization of it. So there are 3 big parts that I would say that comes into play when you are talking about how can I personalize something for a user. One is existing behavior. Let's say on a given time period you have realized that our users who are in a particular location, who are a particular gender, and basis their past history of orders. Let's say in the past history of orders, someone has shopped 5 kurtis, right, on an average. Then like purchase behavior, then most likely they will end up buying a jeans to pair with that kurti. So if you have purchased a kurti in the last 5 days, then the homepage should understand there's a chance that you will end up buying a jeans as well. So with that understanding, I will start showing jeans. What it is called, basis past purchase behavior, you are trying to predict future purchases. So that's there. As simple as it gets. This is probably the exploit part of it. Another is also, you have shown certain intent already. What is that intent? You have clicked on 5 blue jeans in the last. So now I know you are looking for a blue jeans. Why should my home page feed not accommodate that? So this is what is called recently viewed, retargeting, etc. and products similar to that, right? And the third is basically, I have no idea what your intent is. So this is called explore. Explore is basically, I don't know what you like, but let me reserve a certain percentage of my feed just to show you some things that you might find serendipitously. This is what happens at Instagram Reels, by the way. Right? You are watching dog reels for the longest time, but beech mein ek non-dog reel aa jayegi just to understand whether you are willing to explore something new. So that's the fundamental combination. I will serve that feed on the basis of your recent intent shown, prediction basis past behavior, and I have no idea, but I'll try what can work for you. So these are the 3 core parts that help us understand. And why these 3 core? They are lying in different spectrum of intent. If your intent is as clear to me, 90% of that feed will be what you have shown interest in. If your intent is not clear to me, some part of will be purchase based, some part of will be exploration. And if I have no purchase data, I will go with some data from that region, from your persona, to just see what can be bought by you. So now there are technical systems here. Technical systems are recommendation engines. First, Meesho has a base of 20 million plus products easily, right? 2 crore products. Or on an average, a user will see 20 to 50 products in that feed, not more than that. So how do you come from that 20 million to 20 to 50 products? That system is called your layered multi-architecture system. What it is, first you will classify some products from a recommendation engine. We call it candidate generation. You are generating candidates relevant to the user. So candidate generation will happen in these 3 buckets: products you have shown intent in, products you have not purchased, and top selling products that you might be likely to explore. So these are the 3 things. These 3 candidate generators are now mixed up and ranked at a platform level. What are any user most likely to convert? This is called ranking, right? Now any user pe tha ye. This was not personalized. Now let's say 3 candidate generator gave me 10,000 products. From those 10,000 products, I'm gonna rank, let's say, these 10,000 products and come back with 1,000 products which are top converting. In these top converting 1,000 products, I'm gonna predict which product are you likely to purchase. The reason I cannot make your personal prediction on 10,000 products is just compute is too heavy, but maybe now it is better enabled, right? Those 1,000 products will be re-ranked basis your preferences. And let's say I want to apply certain hard filters, that I want to remove products that you have already seen. That comes at the top, re-ranking. So candidate generation, ranking, personalization, re-ranking. Those are the 4 layers in your recommendation engines to get from those 2 million products to those 20 to 50 products. So yeah, slightly technical, but yeah.
No, I think it was...
we understood it.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I mean, it always amazes me that, how this systems work, because I'll tell you a story of, someone whom I was talking to. So this guy is a senior program manager at Amazon.
Okay.
Right. And he is managing a particular catalog for India.
Okay.
Right. So now उनके डेटा एनालिटिक्स ऐसा होता है कि इस क्वार्टर में इंडिया के कौन से रीजन में कितने यूजर्स ने कौन से कपड़े देखे हैं, राइट. नाउ दे ब्रेक डाउन इट बाय कौन से शेड का ब्लू देखा है, डार्क ब्लू था, लाइट ब्लू था, ये वाला ब्लू था, राइट. कौन से फैब्रिक का देखा है. नाउ ऑन बेसिस ऑफ दैट दे ट्राई टू मैनेज द इन्वेंटरी बाय फाइंडिंग आउट कि इसके सेलर्स कितने हैं, राइट. दे यूज रिग्रेशन मॉडल्स टू प्रिडिक्ट कि भाई कौन सी कैटेगरी जो आगे जाके ग्रोथ दिखा रही है, या डिमांड फोकस्टिंग, एंड उसके हिसाब से सप्लाई को कैसे मैनेज करें, राइट. So yeah, it's very amazing for me to know.
Most systems, so I've not even tried, but yeah, it is a industry in itself.
Yeah, that's right. And okay, इस पे भी मीशो पे भी एक बार डीप डाइव करेंगे, बट बिफोर इट ग्रोफर्स का चैप्टर ख़त्म करते हैं, राइट? हाउ एंड व्हेन डिड द टॉक्स फॉर ब्लिंकिट स्टार्ट कमिंग इन, यू नो, एंड when you left it, right, what was the state of the company? I mean, because now the logistics and the supply chain पूरा change हो रहा है, right? आप drastically time को reduce कर रहे हो, you are increasing the catalog, right? And आपका जो TAM है वो भी change हो रहा है,
Absolutely.
right? So एक इतना बड़ा company जहाँ पे systems are in, you know, place, you are changing the TAM, you are changing the operations, right? You are changing the fundamentals of the company. How does it work at scale, right? What are the changes being made in a day?
Maybe I'll take you through the story as I know it, and if any follow-up questions on that, feel free to ask. So yeah, Grofers was a big name in terms of value first monthly shopping. कि लोग monthly और bi-monthly जैसे top up in the middle of it. So average frequency was roughly about 1.8 to 2.2. So in a month. So unlike us, we are ordering 15 times in a month from BlinkIt now, right? The core proposition was lowest pricing, that we will give you the lowest prices on that basket. People used to buy monthly grocery, and we were penetrated primarily in metro and tier 1 cities. We were trying to get to tier 2 cities. The market situation is also important in this case. DMart had entered India. DMart was trying to create crazy good pricing because of their assortment and operational costs were fairly low. Jio had also entered 200 cities, by the way, then. JioMart, right? So there was a need to de-risk this business. Let's say this current business might be actually just scaled up to a certain, and the competition just becomes too heavy. So that's where the founders started thinking, what all user needs can we cater, given that we are a supply chain business. So Grofers has always been a supply chain business, just like Swiggy, by the way, supply chain business. So they had all the control on the supply chain, right? The entire supply chain was owned by Grofers. So the founders, leaders, they spoke to users across. Anyone in India buys grocery, by the way. In India, grocery is like a 900 billion market, 8 to 900 billion market. Majority of the 1 trillion retail market is grocery. So in India, that's the biggest market. So the founders said, it's not just that this value conscious customer also buys. We are also buying grocery, but sometimes we are okay being price agnostic. We don't worry too much. So what do we worry about when we are purchasing these everyday expenses? They said, more than value, we also value, more than price, we also value convenience. So that's the learning that they did. There was an experiment done in Gurgaon. A dark store was captured, taken on lease. Only that one dark store was managed, and an area of 2 to 3 kilometers around that dark store. This was in Gurgaon. In that, the Grofers app started changing to 5-minute, 10-minute delivery. The app experience started changing. So locally, we did that, and all the orders were being fulfilled from that one dark store. This gave us, what was the hypothesis? The hypothesis was that people will stop making planned purchases and will be okay doing unplanned 10-minute purchases if the trust on quality and trust on delivery time is established. The two things that this dark store optimized for: trust on quality, trust on delivery time, not trust on price. The hypothesis changed. The success metric was frequency of purchase multiplied by average order value, which is the spend of user, and retention over next month. Frequency में दिख जाएगा आपको retention, but next month भी ज़रूरी है. That is not just a 1 month habit. So the spend actually increased because सारे unplanned purchases आने लग गए थे. So this started giving a lot more hope. The project was called E3, every day, everything, everywhere, every time. E3. So that's where it happened. The scale was actually one dark store in Gurgaon. Once the retention number became 2x, 3x, so let's say monthly retention would be north of 55%, assuming. This became, let's say, for new user it would be even less. Let's say for new user the retention number is 33%. This became 60-70% next month. that gave crazy strong proof that users who are convenience as a value proposition preferring, they would be the ones that will be using it. India's top 5% is actually that.
Yeah.
So and they contribute to a lot more to the GDP and that $900 trillion market as well, $1 billion market, meaningful enough. So they said, let's capture it. And that's when they scaled. This was the time when I decided to move on now. That the decision to scale was being taken. What it meant that letting go of their current business wherever they can offer this. So this was almost like a pivot, right? But that transition happened gradually. I was not there to see that transition complete.
Got it. Yeah. Also, Grofers may, what I have also heard on a podcast, I don't remember kaun tha, right? From Grofers only, that to make the business profitable, जो recommendations engine की हम बात कर रहे थे, जो checkout pages की हम बात कर रहे हैं, they had to calculate that भाई कितना मेरा basket का average value होगा कि मैं profit बना सकूँ, right?
Absolutely.
And every recommendation was calibrated around it. कि भाई अगर कोई 1 kg राइस ले रहा है, 1 पैकेट ब्रेड का ले रहा है, अगर वो 1 अंडा डाल दे मैं प्रॉफिटेबल हो जाऊंगा.
अच्छा.
राइट. So probably this would also have been a filter.
I think the engine का optimization function usually is GMV per impression, which is what it will add, by the way. कि what you are trying to do, you are taking a space on cart value.
Yeah.
Can user add that or not? Let's say you add a 6 rupee anda versus let's say you add a 300 rupees ande ki tray.
Yeah.
If more users end up buying that 6 rupee anda, your GMV per impression will be higher on that, despite the value being low.
Yeah.
Right? That maths has to work out. So that's there. But maybe you're right that let's say I know that this cart has this much, so I'll push this user to free delivery cart. Free delivery cart is usually a profitable cart. So that's what current most platforms also do. That add 30 more to get free delivery because that's a profitable cart.
Got it. ठीक है. There was this campaign by Grofers, Grand Orange Back Days, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to know about it because we always have heard stories about Big Billion Days, Amazon Great Indian Festival, right? But this was back in the day where specifically for Grofers, जहाँ पे TAM अलग है, catalog पूरा अलग है, right? It's a specific market. What was the magnitude of this sale, right? Was it a success? Was it not a success? And how do things work out as a product?
Got it. Their sale का एक fundamental होता है कि sale basically means you're gonna get rewards which otherwise will not be available or prices which otherwise, so you should be able to generate a lot more consumer demand.
Yeah.
Right? For a business, why sales happen? They happen so that you can get new users with the buzz that you create and they end up staying onto the platform, not for that one time that they come. So you're almost like creating a baseline change in your active user base through these sales. That's what Big Billion Days, Diwali के time पे ये सब करता है. Interestingly, around grocery, companies like Big Bazaar have created 2 properties. जहाँ हमारे पेरेंट्स शॉप करते थे, at least my parents used to shop, was Independence Day sale और Republic Day sale. These are big properties, by the way. जहाँ पे Big Bazaar के crazy discounts होते थे. They also did weekly property, weekly Wednesdays. I don't know if you are aware. But ये बहुत ही established properties थे. तो these were peak demand. जैसे दिवाली के टाइम पे grand Flipkart और Amazon के peak demand हो जाते हैं because people have need to spend. Similarly, Big Bazaar has created that property for us. So our objective was, we were somewhere around December. I remember this got executed in a month. We were somewhere around December 2020. And we said, यार ये तो crack करना है कि अपना Republic Day आ रहा है, demand will be much high. What can we do to get maximum new users? I was in growth that will sustain. So the leaders, including me, we all brainstormed and we came with one construct called Orange Cash. This Orange Cash was, on the sale day, whatever purchase you make, you will get cashback equivalent to it in your wallet, 100% cashback. So the proposition is so exciting that you're getting 100% cashback. The catch here was, whatever that value is, in subsequent orders you will be able to discount 20% of that value, so that एक बारी में सारा ख़त्म ना हो. वो LTV क्रैक करना था हमें यूज़र का. So on every order they would get that discount, that 20% discount till the time orange cash lasts. So this creates a recurring behavior as well.
Minimum 5 ऑर्डर तो प्लेस करेंगे.
5 ऑर्डर, अगर आपने 1000 की शॉपिंग कर ली है, आगे 1000 की करोगे तो 200 डिस्काउंट होते जाएंगे, 5 एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डर्स, एंड यू हैव बिल्ट अ हैबिट. एंड इफ यू हैव बिल्ट अ हैबिट यू विल स्टार्ट, यू वुड हैव सीन ऑल द थिंग्स ऑन द प्लेटफॉर्म. सबसे सस्ते प्राइसेस हैं, सारे इंपॉर्टेंट प्रोडक्ट्स हैं, सिंपल फ्लो है, एंड यू आर हैबिचुअल ऑफ दैट. So the sale was a grand success, by the way, and that's why it continued on Independence Sale and Next Republic Day Sale until we turned BlinkIt. क्योंकि तब वैल्यू कॉन्शियस शॉपिंग नहीं हो रही है.
Got it. Because I feel that for Amazon, Flipkart, फिर भी चलो, they are, you know, AOV can boost up. For Grofers, who is in a business जहाँ पे, you know, even a slight value change can, you know, make the order, you know, get them loss. एक सेल को पुल अप करना इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट, राइट?
यार वी सॉ सरप्राइजिंग बिहेवियर इन दिस. जो लोग पहले एक कांटे के कट्टा खरीद रहे थे, 3 खरीद रहे हैं यार, जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ दैट 100% कैशबैक, क्योंकि खराब नहीं हो रहा है उस टाइम पे, विंटर है.
ओके, इंटरेस्टिंग. ओके, तो मुझे अब ये थोड़ा जानना है, राइट? व्हाट वर ऑल दिस एक्साइटिंग बिहेवियर्स दैट यू सॉ इन ग्रोफर्स व्हिच डिफाइन द कंज्यूमर पैटर्न ऑफ एन इंडियन कस्टमर, राइट? Some insights which you might have seen, right? For example, कौन से एरिया में, you know, what people eat versus what they order, right? What are the timings when people order a specific thing, right? What were those some things which you noticed?
Yeah, I think products changed by regions. We had regions. So North का जैसा I told you, Fortune refined oil and Ashirwad Atta would be your top 2 sellers. Sugar and tur dal would be another one. In South it would be rice bran आटा, sunflower oil, sugar and dal हर जगह ही है. So but drumstick was a big thing in South versus North. कड़ी पत्ता again a different thing. So products तो definitely थे ही. I think that's because, और वो मतलब हमने बस समझ लिए पैटर्न डेटा की वजह से. Very interesting things were basically price consciousness versus quality consciousness. I think South was slightly more quality conscious. They had South maybe because they are educated enough to go through all the rating reviews. So ratings influence their purchase behavior a lot more than North. North mein prices influence it more. What I also saw, by the way, from consumer side, usability is a big challenge in North. Okay. People find it difficult to use app versus South. Maybe again exposure to technology, education, etc. could be one reason. Some insights from Meesho Times: silk sarees would be purchased more in South versus cotton and kurtis in North, suits in North versus sarees in South. So these were the product based insight. Again, basis persona. I would say, I think there's always a spectrum of users between price and quality across, you will see. So there's a small mini marketplace on every platform which considers itself as a horizontal platform, जहाँ पे quality conscious customers come into play. जैसे Amazon is a price conscious customer, हम लोग में से भी tier 1 में से, बाकी लोग जो BlinkIt से नहीं कर रहे, Amazon से क्या खरीद रहे हैं, Amazon से minimalist types brand खरीद रहे होंगे, थोड़े डिस्काउंट पे मिल जाते हैं वो लोग. तो क्वालिटी कॉन्शियस एक पर्सोना हम आपको हर प्लेटफॉर्म पे मिलेगा, people who value quality over price. So that is something that I have seen, and we have used that insight to change behavior. We have used, there are so many people who are okay with, let's say, so let's say behavior changing करना है. You know that a delivery from a far away merchant costs you higher versus nearby merchant. People would say नहीं मेरे को सस्ता प्राइस चाहिए, तो मैं थोड़ा सा different product, let's say डार्क ग्रीन और डार्क ग्रीन आपको मिल रहा था दूर वाले मर्चेंट से बस 10 रुपये महंगा, ग्रीन मिल रहा था पास वाले मर्चेंट से 10 रुपये सस्ता. आई टेक द ग्रीन वन. सो दोज आर द डिसीजन मेकिंग थिंग्स दैट कस्टमर्स वुड डू बिकॉज प्राइस क्वालिटी टू मी, लाइक ये दिस इन इटसेल्फ इज अ बिग फील्ड, प्राइस क्वालिटी स्पेक्ट्रम. वी हैव बिल्ट प्रोडक्ट्स फॉर दैट ऑफ कोर्स, बट या लॉट ऑफ इनसाइट्स देयर, काउंटर इंट्यूटिव इनसाइट्स. आई थिंक मैंने ग्रोफर्स के सुपर KVI के बारे में भी लिखा हुआ है काफ़ी. हमें लगता था कि यूज़र्स आर मेकिंग डिसीजन ऑन ओवरऑल कार्ट, कि मैं मेरे को अगर मेरी मंथली ग्रोसरी है मेरी 2021 में आ जाती है, बिग बास्केट पे ले रहा हूँ तो 2100 में आ रही है, ग्रोफर्स पे ले रहा हूँ तो 1800-1900 में आ रही है, बिग बाज़ार से ले रहा हूँ तो 1700-1800 में आ रही है. दैट्स हाउ पीपल यूज टू मेक डिसीजन. वी वर रॉन्ग, वी आर एब्सोल्युटली रॉन्ग, बिकॉज when we saw कि हमारे prices were actually lower than these players for most cases, yet our conversion, yet these people said no, their prices are higher. When we spoke to them, they told us आपकी मैगी पे प्राइस महंगा था, डी-मार्ट 1 रुपया सस्ता दे रहा है, आपका फॉर्च्यून रिफाइंड 91 का था, वहाँ पर 90 का मिल रहा था, आपकी शुगर 1 kg 42 की थी, वहाँ पर 40 की मिल रही थी. So that's when we realized that there are perception creating products, very counterintuitive. क्योंकि मंथली ग्रोसरी मेरे को याद है मेरी मम्मी बास्केट खरीदती थी, but my mummy also remembers prices of those things to the 1 unit change. That was a very counterintuitive insight, and that's how we built the entire discovery for pricing on Grofers and led to 20% jump in new user conversion. So yeah, counterintuitive insights. Yeah.
मतलब कुछ प्रोडक्ट्स ऐसे होते हैं जो महंगे होते हैं तो वी डोंट बाय इट. आई थिंक वी आल्सो डू इट, राइट?
Yeah, absolutely.
हाँ, मतलब अगर ब्लिंकिट पे मैगी 2 रुपए भी महंगी, हम जेप्टो से मंगा लेंगे.
Zepto से मंगा
मैगी
लेंगे.
में क्यों पैसा वेस्ट करें?
मैं कुछ चीज़ों में वेट भी कर लूँगा. जैसे आई रिमेंबर एक एक्सटेंडर था, वाईफाई एक्सटेंडर, ब्लिंकिट 500 रुपये महंगा, वेट कर लेता हूँ 2 दिन, अमेजोन से आ जाएगा.
हाँ,
राइट.
Yep. So let's move on to Meesho now. Okay. What was the reason that not a career-wise reason, right? Learning-wise reason, yeah. So did you want a shift? कि you thought of joining Meesho, right? Because Meesho has always been different compared to all these e-commerce platforms that we have, right? Their fundamentals, their philosophy is different, right? वो WhatsApp channel से एक ऐप पे आया हुआ है. Yeah, it started from a WhatsApp channel. The concept was of reselling, right? To organize that market, right? So the fundamentals are very different. What interested you in joining Meesho, and when you joined Meesho, right? What was the reality inside the company, right? How were the systems working? How were the things working, right? And what was that one thing, right? If there was a thing which made you think यार ये crazy चीज़ है, मतलब you had never thought about it, right? So what was that?
Yeah. So like I've told you that Grofers was trying to become BlinkIt वाले model पे. It was trying to cater to a niche market. My excitement went down थोड़ा सा, and then it was also almost 2 years plus at Grofers. It felt like I can now expose myself to more product focused companies and beyond Delhi. I think I had restricted myself till that time to Delhi, and now I was open to, now it seems like product management is something that feels like my calling at least for the next few years. So अब फिर काम करना है तो अच्छी प्रोडक्ट कंपनीज़ में फिर काम करते हैं, और उसके लिए फिर बैंगलोर जाना पड़ा तो बैंगलोर भी जाएंगे. So with that agenda, I made a list of some 20 plus companies that I thought I'll start having conversation with. Meesho was one of them. Interestingly, Meesho was also recommended to me by Meesho and Shiro's common angel investor, that if you ever decide to go to Bangalore, Meesho is definitely one of the companies you should try to go for. So had good word from before. I think it was my fortune that Meesho selected me, honestly. The round of conversations that I had, I think that sold the journey. I was having conversations with every single company at the time, but Meesho ka pura process happened in 1 week, and I had 5 conversations. And each conversation made me learn something that, oh, this is something that I know about myself, this is something I don't. Just to give an example, one of the toughest intellectual interviews I had was around how to price Amazon Prime if it were to launch. Because the kind of discussion, the kind of cross-questioning that was happening, that was like really interesting, really insightful. It gave me confidence that, oh, I can structure problems really well that I did not know. And it also gave me some imposter syndrome, damn, I don't know how to do pricing. So, but yeah, I acknowledged that in that interview, yeah, I could have done this better. So 3 things stood out from those conversations. 1, my own confidence that yes, I can be a good fit if these are going to be the conversations I'll have. I'll learn a lot. And third, I think, this was number 1. Second was, in each conversation, it felt like I was accepted well by highlighting, yes, I don't know this. growth mindset was much appreciated versus putting up a wrong answer. And third was, in all the conversation, when I say what are we trying to solve, it was always like we are solving problems for our sellers and resellers. So that user first mindset just blew my mind in every conversation. That is so ingrained in that company. It's now ingrained in me that I trouble my peers at Fam so much. Have you spoken to users? Have you spoken to users? Right? So I think the wow factors that you were asking with, being super user first, being open to growth mindset, and third, the kind of people that I'm going to work with, the kind of discussions I'm going to have with, this just felt like great. It was super energizing, and that's exactly what I optimize for now. So I think that was the reason I decided to join Meesho over other things that I was exploring.
Got it. And
Once I landed there, so once I landed there, actually no expectation reality mismatch even further. The company had created such good systems around just speaking to users. You want to speak to users, there's an admin panel, you just type in the user ID and call them. You don't have to worry too much about it. You have to go and meet user in person, you book a ticket, meet them in person, you'll get reimbursed. So those systems were so much in place without any friction to talk to users, that just blew my mind. This was all during COVID, so we used to do mostly calls, but after COVID, it started happening better. Second thing that blew my mind, I think that still lasts with me, is the raw smartness yet humility of people. Everyone was super smart yet humble enough to collaborate and humble enough to say, hey, I don't know this, but we'll figure it out. So I think that mindset was just crazy good. That made me so much secure that, hey, I can learn at this place. And third was like feeling of learning and getting challenged. Every single day, everything I will have, I'll get challenged by those people in a positive way. So it made me just want to grow faster. Yeah.
Got it. ठीक है. Meesho, I have always heard from people about the same culture which you are talking. I've seen a few people who have rejected Google offers to go into Meesho.
Okay.
Right. So it has been a crazy company which I have, as much as I have also interacted with the folks. Recommendations की बात की, right? So we know about it. But there was this particular system which you put into place, right? The only
Wrong defect items.
Yeah, wrong and defect items. So if you could highlight into it, how did we come to that problem? Right?
Yeah.
How did we solve it? And we can also go technical into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So even in the reseller world, Meesho's value proposition was pricing. That we will offer possibly the lowest prices to the end consumer. Today we have a reseller in the picture, but even with that, we want to offer the lowest pricing. So what Meesho did well was break down the entire pricing structure, how a product that is being sold online is being priced. So there would be manufacturing cost, there would be distributorship cost, then the final seller will add, if they are selling offline, they don't add anything apart from their own margin. But if they are selling online, on that margin, they will have 3 convenience fees. Number 1 would be your shipping fee. Number 2 would be cash on delivery fees. Number 3 would be return fees, return and exchange. The biggest component of these 3 was returns to start with. Shipping, you cannot go zero, that's why. You can only reduce it. Otherwise, shipping would become the biggest component. But return was something that was like overhead. Think of India's market, by the way. We have been getting newspaper delivery at home. Are we used to paying for delivery?
No.
We pay per newspaper.
Yeah.
We have been getting milk delivery at home. We pay per liter. तो अगर कोई कन्वीनियंस का पैसा ले लेगा तो हमारा दिल टूट जाता है इन जनरल कि कैसे ले लिया किसी ने. तो बट एक्चुअली पैसा तो लग रहा है रिटर्न का. समवन इज एक्चुअली एडिंग इट एंड इट इज एडिंग टू द कस्टमर्स कॉस्ट कि हम सेलर्स को चार्ज कर रहे हैं, सेलर्स कंज्यूमर को चार्ज कर रहा है. सो दिस एंटायर बिहेवियर ऑफ रिटर्निंग इज क्वाइट प्रेवलेंट इन इंडिया, राइट? कि नहीं पसंद आया वापस कर दिया. These are called customer returns, not seller fault returns. Majority of the returns were these in fashion products. And non-fashion electronics में भी आता है कि नहीं यार अच्छा नहीं लग रहा, हल्का लग रहा है थोड़ा, तो वापस भेज देते हैं. लो क्वालिटी दिखने में लग रहा है, वापस भेज देते हैं. कोई ख़राबी नहीं होती उसमें, बट वापस जाता है. We learned this, that there is a consumer behavior around returning just because they don't like the product. We learned that the sellers are super anxious about this. They are absolutely okay if the fault is theirs, if they have given a faulty product, if they have sent a wrong product. But when customers return, that's very unpredictable, right? So they used to add a big buffer. कि मेरे को इसका पता नहीं है, so I'll add a big buffer. So the easier part was talking to sellers. My problem statement was reduce product prices by reducing return costs from product pricing by sellers. That was my what it basically means is that either get seller to reduce their margin and take that, or fundamentally reduce returns on the platform so that sellers don't add that buffer. That was the case. Meesho being product first company, fundamental problem solver, they pushed me to the second. Return ही reduce करना है, you can't reduce the margin, you have to reduce the returns. It was easier for me to get to sellers and take two prices, एक price with customer return, एक price without. अभी भी customer return वाला price दे रहे हैं, मैंने बोल दिया आपके returns इससे हट जाएंगे तो आप कितना price दोगे. They gave me two prices with minimum difference of 5 to 10% easily. So they were happy कि अगर नहीं दोगे तो मैं भी नहीं ऐड करूँगा. That was an easy logical part, at least from a pilot perspective. The difficult part was getting customers on to shop on the lower price, right? I said that Meesho के customers तो price first है, तो एक काम करते हैं, by default ही price without return कर देते हैं. तो अब जिसको नहीं करना होगा, जिसको return चाहिए होगा, वो higher price पे चला जाएगा. Most people should be okay with that because Meesho is a value first customer. We launched this experiment. Orders on these products where prices were 5 to 10% lower went up as high as 30%. People were super happy. Sellers were super happy. The experiment failed. This was probably the biggest failure of my life at that point in product management. Can you guess why?
Why?
So the mistake that I did, I thought everyone would understand that I'm not taking return ka cost up included. This was tier 2 value conscious user who did not even care to read what is there. For them the navigation was product seen, price seen, pink button is buy now, pink button is address, pink button is order, done. So product, price, pink button was their flow, nothing else. To them they were ordering in the same era that there is no return. This was my fault. 95% orders went on this price. For people who ordered this price and wanted to return, could not return. This was an A/B test, so very small scale. But the retention of those users was 7% lower. They stopped coming back to the platform because they were so frustrated.
Confidence went down.
Trust went down, as simple as that. So that was a failure that I could not understand, that user anxiety. As a product manager, I should have anticipated that. I did not. So it's a failure on me. The next release that we did was by default make the normal price and give the lower price as an offer and explain it to the user that you are taking this offer with only wrong and defect item returns eligible. And if you choose, then this is going to be your and at the start as well, start showing that this is available at a lower price but with an offer, with a condition. In that case, the orders did not go up as high as 30% but 20%. But returns, everyone was happy. In fact, people who shopped on the lower price did it willingly. So now they were happy with the lower price, knew that they were not returning. 30% of the delivered orders on the platform today are on this lower price. So that was something that we did, and it changed market behavior. People who were so much about returns said that no, I want lower price. It's okay to let go of those returns. And it started happening in products where quality was already sure. So yeah, that's how we changed this behavior. Super proud to say that got learning from all the leaders at the company here, from logistics to pricing, one of the big projects that we did, and came out really well.
Then जो पहला आपका failure था, right? वहाँ पे you said the retention went down for the users who purchased this.
Yes.
After making this switch, right? Did the retention get affected again, or was it the same?
Yeah, retention went up with the new release. उनको हमें फिर से कॉल बैक करके वापस लाना पड़ा कि ना हमने ये चेंज कर दिया है.
Okay.
So, but this was like 2% of the platform users, क्योंकि A/B testing तो उतने स्केल पर ही करनी थी.
Got it. You were at Meesho when the company went for an IPO, right? उस time frame था वो. So when a company is growing versus when it went public, right? तो बहुत सारी चीज़ें change हो जाती है, right? From a product perspective, did it make any limitation to the usage of the product? Now you have to be extra careful with the users, or did the culture shift inside? If you can give an outlook on how this internal things change.
So I left Meesho just almost about the moment they, like in a couple of months after IPO. But I'm in touch with people. I have not personally heard that the culture has changed so much after IPO. But I think one thing that comes as the company scales really is like you start to have some processes. And those processes are to make sure that you don't make big mistakes on production, right? And at the end, users only suffer that either they're not getting the services or they're incurring the loss. So some processes would be there, some, and from like a data need perspective, not everyone will have access to, let's say, share price influencing data from an IPO perspective. Apart from that, I don't think many things changed. In fact, the company's operating system has only strengthened in terms of what processes to let go of and processes to keep. I think वो constant iteration रहता है मीशो में कि हमारे कल्चर में कौन सी चीज़ इनफेक्टिव है उसको हटा दो, कौन सी चीज़ इफेक्टिव है उसको कंपाउंड कर दो. So that operating system also is learning from its mistake. So at least people who have told me that it has not changed much after IPO, the only thing I would say is like as the company continues to scale, some process will require because now each decision matters a lot.
Yeah, I think the scope for failure reduces drastically.
I would say failure is absolutely okay अभी भी क्योंकि experiment छोटे scale पर ही करना है. In fact, the company is even more bold. क्योंकि इतने यूज़र आ गए अब छोटे छोटे 10,000 एक्सपेरिमेंट कर लेंगे. इट्स एब्सोल्युटली ओके. व्हाट इज़ नॉट ओके इस प्रोडक्ट्स में कुछ बड़ा ब्रेक हो जाए. कोई आपने ऐसा फीचर निकाला जो 2% यूज़र के बाद जब आपने स्केल किया तो ब्रेक हो गया, तो उसके लिए प्रोसेस चेक्स होंगे कि सही डिसीजन. मान लो आप प्लेटफॉर्म पे एक प्रोडक्ट लेवल की जगह कमीशन की कोई प्राइसिंग है, लेट्स से मॉल में अगर कमीशन है, वो प्राइसिंग अगर गलत अपलोड हो गई तो प्लेटफॉर्म हिल जाएगा. तो उसके लिए प्रोसेसेस बन गए हैं. Experimentation culture has only improved at Meesho. In fact, with AI, it's only going to improve, hopefully.
Yeah, with AI, right? When you were at Meesho, right, there was this voice use case which was
voice search.
Yeah, voice search, which was added to the Meesho, right? So, अब यहाँ पे जो है the difficulties with Indian languages is कि इन इंडिया एक ही कंपनी है जो फाउंडेशनल मॉडल्स बना रही है, राइट? हाँ, राइट. एंड अब जाके इट्स वेरी स्टेबल, राइट? बट द टाइम व्हेन यू मेड दी when Meesho started doing this, how difficult was it to get every different type of accents, get every different type of languages again at this scale, right? So and at the first place, what was the problem which was getting solved with this?
I can talk about the problem. I think execution I was not involved, but we aligned with like creating a voice agent for discovery, and I think Meesho has released Vani, which is some form of that. So I'm not particularly involved in the development part, but I can talk about the problem. So primary Meesho users are tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. Their English is not comprehensible at all. Broken ही होगा it to some extent, right? Now imagine them typing in search. क्या ही टाइप कर रहे होंगे, right? So when we enabled voice search, the kind of queries, लाल कलर की साड़ी दिखाना, बच्चों के स्कूल के कपड़े, ऐसे था. So these were natural language queries. This is what we realized that at the time we were using Google text to speech or speech to text API for voice search. But basis these keyword inputs, we realize ये तो natural language में बात कर रहे हैं. And discovery in search is a big problem because if you don't type the right word, the right product will not surface. The problem at Meesho is actually compounded. Nor do users know how to type, nor do sellers know how to do the cataloging right. Right? वो भी सही नहीं कर रहे हैं spelling welling, तो ज़्यादा broken है in general. So there was a clear need to make it usable for users who want to talk and get the right products. And also technologically uplift लाना था. The big decision that we had to take, इसको text based करें, chatbot या फिर voice based करें. I think we did prototype. So हमने लोगों को बोल दिया कि कनेक्ट करके प्रोटोटाइप पे voice bot of GPT से बात करो, इससे शॉपिंग करो, 10-15 लोगों से बात करके आए. We built a document. We proposed very hard that we need to go voice first for our users in discovery. क्योंकि when I say discovery, when browsing products. So that's how we came about, like we need to build that. Uska agentic implementation hua hai, that's what one is. There I'm not sure how, like is it a server agent, is it an in-house, most likely would be an in-house because Meesho is building its own tech stack. So but yeah, I have not, it's also something more proprietary to the company, so I have not had conversations on it.
Got it. You are the group PM for search, ranking, and recommendations, right?
Yes.
In Meesho. So when you are leading a team, right, in a company which is at a particular scale, right? You always have to understand the trade-offs of every decision that you take, right?
Yes.
Because if anything goes, you are the guy who the management will get hand off, right? So how do you gauge it, right? Because until now, right, you worked in a startup, you came to Grofers, you did growth, and after growth you are now seeing search, ranking, recommendations, and there is technical stuff involved, right?
Absolutely.
So again, how do you make your compass that okay, this is my north, right?
Yeah, so after Grofers at Meesho, first I did consumer products, pricing, shopping experience. I've been fortunate that leaders put that trust in me and said you can lead search, ranking, recommendation, which is like heavy technical. I also wanted to get into this space because I knew AI is gonna, so this is probably as fundamental as it gets when it comes to AI. जो हम आज evals बोलते हैं, they are nothing but check metrics and input metrics. Honestly, I think हमने बस उससे थोड़ा सा glorify कर दिया है. कुछ नहीं है वो evals etc. Of course, it's a skill to build the right metrics. That's one. So super fortunate, number one, and super grateful that the leaders put that trust in me to lead a big charter like that at scale, which is like super heavy data dependent. I think what I brought to the table there was first principles thinking and user first thinking. Technology तो नहीं लाया था मैं. I had no idea as a data scientist how do you make these decisions. I of course had to upskill myself there, which I did while being on the job most of the time. But then one thing that you asked, that how do you ensure these things, if they break, how I'm the person who's going to be blamed. I think the biggest challenge that I had were twofold. One is these are indeterministic systems, right? हमें usually पता होता है अगर मैंने funnel में कोई change किया तो कितना adoption आ जाएगा और कितना impact आ जाएगा. But मैं जब किसी algorithm को personalize कर रहा हूँ, मेरे को ये नहीं पता कि click through rate कितना improve होगा, कितना नहीं होगा. बस मेरे को potential पता है, potential चाहे 30% improve हो सकता है, but इस iteration से it might just increase by 2%. So I think building that confidence with the leadership that I will take a 15% goal, but in the first two iterations I might just achieve 4%, but next two iterations will give me 10%, and I'll beat that goal, was something that took its own time, by the way. Initially I was questioned a lot, but then once results start to come in, and I was supported by the leaders on the data science side as well. So that was one of the big challenges. The other, where you asked the question, ki what all can break, things actually broke in a few releases. They did break. When I say, so we launched something called let's say a price-based ranking that led to quality on the platform going really low, because you started to surface low price products which are not as great in quality. This broke it, but we took it, okay, we did not know something, now we know, so we will add quality as a check metric at each and every experiment. So by doing these mistakes, learning from this mistake, the ranking org, as we call it, had the highest number of check metrics. Because we are controlling impressions on the platform. An impression can change pricing ka perception, quality ka perception, variety ka perception, new products aa rahe hain nahi, uska perception, kuch bhi, every perception. So we were probably the most strong on the consumer side, guarded team in terms of you cannot break any check metric. So we had a list of 10 to 20 check metrics. 10 to 12 I can remember top of my mind as well, but more than that now. So what were these check metrics? Is your pricing going for a toss? Is your quality going for a toss? When, let's say I'm improving relevance on search, keyword matching say, is pricing changing? So that's how we built a system, and super proud that the experimentation system is now evolved to the stage that all those check metrics are measured automatically. You cannot scale a experiment if those check metrics are broken. सो ये हमें सिस्टम में इन प्लेस लगाने पड़े थे. बट येस, इनिशियली ट्रस्ट आने में टाइम लगा था, इतनी आसानी से नहीं आया था. एक इनिशियल ट्रस्ट था कि कर लेंगे. सेकेंड, काफ़ी चीज़ें ब्रेक हुई हैं, बट ये पता होता था हमेशा क्यों ब्रेक हुई और आगे कैसे फिक्स करेंगे. द लीडरशिप इज़ एब्सोल्युटली ओपन to accepting mistakes, but not knowing why those mistakes happen is not acceptable. If you don't know, you will repeat the same mistake. So there was always a focus on, it's okay to make mistake, but tell me why and how you're going to fix it later. So that's what reflections were about. Yeah.
Got it. I have seen that the best of leaders are the one who accept mistakes, but also give the confidence कि हाँ next time नहीं होना चाहिए, right?
हाँ, और क्यों नहीं होगा उसका भी तरीका है अपने पास.
Right. After Meesho, you moved to Fam.
Yes.
In a macro level, it's a change because अब आप एक ऐसी कंपनी में थे जो IPO कर चुकी थी. You were leading a team, a very technical position to be in, and now you came to a company which operates as a startup, right? Which is in its growth stage, which is structuring itself, right? How do things change for you, right? And what is the potential that you are seeing in Fam which gives you the confidence to leave an IPO'd company and join Fam?
Yeah, I think everyone has a different access in life to measure. I think current phase in my life, there are three things that I want out of my work in general: mission, people, and learning. And that's what I have optimized for. Got in touch with Sambhav at Fam through one of our connects. So Fam's mission is to raise a generation which is financially aware and independent. I think that is super exciting to me. Why? The people who are going to be coming to Fam are first young and then they will continue to grow. These young folks are going to be the CTOs of their house. They will be the ones to bring their family online. So the next 500 million of India, which is not online, these are the people who are going to bring that online. That is number one. So that's potential is immense. And if we can create impact on this user base to be financially aware, financially independent, I think we have increased GDP of the country. So to me, that impact inspires me, makes me get up every single day. So mission is super aligned. People, I think my first conversation with the founders have only left me energized and more excited. I want to work with such kind of people who are humble, smart, and people-centric. They know how to look after their people. They know how to solve problems. They have so much resilience. The company has survived so many waves of fintech up and down, right? So mad respect and I think super excitement, and that has only improved after I've joined. So that's there. And third is learning. I think with Meesho I spent 5.5 years. I was seeking a very different space and landed in fintech, which is like almost like a ocean in itself that I have no idea about. So wanted to challenge myself with something that I'm not aware about, and grateful that the leaders put their trust in me and got me in.
Got it. In your first 30 days at Fam, right, what was that one thing you noticed about the product, right, which was very tiny and stupid कि यार ये तो fix करना पड़ेगा at the first priority, right? And how did you lead to that, right? In your first 30 days?
Yeah, I think I got to it in the first 1 week. We spoke to so I spoke to roughly about 40 users in my first week itself. The great thing that I learned from the users is that there is absolute crazy user love. People who are using Fam, they're loving it. They're loving it to an extent that they feel that iski wajah se they are financially independent. They don't have to ask parents for money again and again. They just have to ask once and it is done. So that's crazy user love. The other is, I think there is some fee being charged for power users that power users are actually worried about. I think the more than worried about, somehow in our way of communication, it has not been clearer to them that that's how the fee is being charged. So they feel cheated a bit. Yeah. Some users, of course, not majority of users. That's why the product market fit is strong. So I think that's a mistake that we have done. And the first project that I picked is actually reversing that. So some part is already out, but we have broken down it into phases so that every user comes to app. The metric that it should change is basically NPS. And NPS is directly correlated to user love. So so that's the first thing we've done. By the way, I'm leading revenue. This might lead to revenue loss, but the company makes decision on the basis of user love. So, and that's what I'm loving about the company. So that's the first 30 days ka key project.
Got it. ठीक है. I mean, fam के ऊपर I don't have more questions because
still early days.
Yeah, still early days, and I think you might not be able to answer it.
Absolutely.
Right. So there is now, I just want some answers from you or some learnings from you apart from this journey which we went through, which is that if you were to start today again as an APM, right, what are the things you will take care of, right, and ऐसा क्या होगा that if what will you tell to your younger self as an APM कि यार अगर ये तुझे पता होता then probably your growth would have been 10x, or or the time which you might have wasted or your mistakes वो नहीं होता, right? What would be those things?
I think too big. I've reflected so much that these answers are top of the mind. Too big communication. I don't see them as regrets, but I think, as you said, that growth could have been even crazier, right? As a person, as an individual. I think number one being talk to your users a lot more, yaar. And this is my advice to every single APM out there, that if you're making decisions sitting in a room looking at spreadsheets, they're wrong decisions. First, build that base by talking to users in person. Talk to more users in person. I would say to my younger self, my current self, more. There's no end to that more. It will continue to happen. The second is that I think I mentioned at the start as well, letting go of that PM ego. I have to be the one to decide what gets built. A good idea can come from anyone and everyone. Your job is not to decide, not to come up with that idea. Your job is to basically pick the right problem and the right idea that will solve that problem. That judgment is your skill. For my users, what problem, and for my users, what solution to that problem will work the best, no matter who comes up with that solution, no matter that solution worked or not, was yours and did not work, doesn't matter. So वो ego पे ले जाते हैं, नहीं किसी और ने कैसे idea दी थी, how can someone else tell what to build? I think that ego we have to let go. I think I had my fair share of influence problems because of that I have to be the one to decide what to build. So the expertise lies with you, deciding what to build. But idea generation, अब तो GPT भी कर लेगा. Your job is done then. So those are the two things I would still tell my younger self and myself today as well. Let go of those two things.
Okay, and people who are starting their careers in PM, right? People like me, Jyotir, and because you have a very much variety of experience, right? Women-led startups, say like Grofers, which is into grocery, then retail business at Meesho, and then into fintech, right? You have always upskilled yourself, right? Non-technical domains, technical domains, everything. Revenue अब यहाँ पे आ गया, right? Which was not in your journey anywhere, right? As people like us who are starting their careers in PM, what do we keep in mind to continuously upskill ourselves, and how do we gauge our growth, right? क्योंकि हमारे साथ अभी क्या होता है that we don't know are we growing or not. जो हम सीख रहे हैं, is it really needed, right? क्या हमें या कुछ और सीखना चाहिए जो ज़्यादा needed है, right? So how do we gauge this growth of ours?
That's a tough one. I know answer to part one to a decent extent. For anyone who's just entering into PM, the first question I ask them, by the way, or first question you should ask yourself as a PM is, why are you into PM? The most common mistake is people enter PM with the thought of this being a prestigious job. कि PM अच्छी जॉब है, तुम्हें सबके साथ काम करने को मिलेगा, तुम्हारे पास एक रुतबा होगा, aura होगा. I think that's probably the most common mistake that people do. This job is really tough. Right? Why? You have no authority, you have only influence. आपका 50% time लोगों को convince करने में जाएगा. If you don't like that, don't enter this job. That would be my recommendation. So what the job will also have imposter syndrome. It will continue to have, because you will have failures. You will pick the wrong problems, you will pick the wrong solutions. That will continue to happen. So there has to be something that keeps you energized despite all this. For me, I've found picking up users that I find excitement around and they're solving their problems keeps me energized through and through. So as a product manager, early on, realize if you feel super excited about solving the user's problem, not business problem, not technology, nothing, then only this job will help you. I hope even if this evolves to builder, the fundamentals stay the same, users and their problems. So if you are not energized by solving users' problem, if you are not energized by talking to people and understanding them better, you will not enjoy this job will be hell for you. So that's the first thing. Now answering the second question, how to continue upskilling. I think personally I have not invested heavily beyond my job. Two things have worked in my favor. Being open to learning everything and anything. Problem at hand needs to be solved. Be it growth, be it revenue, be it conversion, be it AI. Then go as exploratory as possible to solve that problem. So you are getting a plethora of knowledge to solve the problem at hand, and that to me is a great way to upskill. The second, which I have not formalized but I have been lucky to have, is mentors who have channeled my energy into the right direction. That when I spoke to someone, can I now enter ML AI system despite no? Someone put that confidence in me and said that yes, you can, now ask your manager to go there. So I'm saying that mentoring really helps. Just having that soundboard to say, can I do this? What is it gonna take? And what is the downside of it? For example, if I choose a startup, what is the downside? Yes, there's a work-life balance issue. That will happen. At this stage in my life, am I okay? Yes. If not, don't. So I'm saying that mentoring really helps, give a perspective. So as a PM, if you want to continue to upskill, figure out the best way, go as wide as possible to solve the problem at hand. Upskilling हो जाती है in general. जैसे अब so technology is just an enabler, right? AI is just an enabler. A lot of financial problems can be solved with AI. Financial fraud detection can be automated, right? So now you have a better tool to solve that problem. You now have to upskill yourself on that tool because you wanted to solve that problem the best. So if your optimization function is solve the problem at hand the best way possible, you will upskill. To me, that perspective has helped, and having a mentor. Those are the two things I would pick.
I think this makes sense, because if you are willing to deep dive into the problem you have, automatically you are learning things a lot, right?
Absolutely. And my learning flywheel is just two things: on-the-job learning and people. I'm not an avid reader. I'm not an avid content watcher to learn. But on-the-job and people have been my best way to learn.
Great. Ek last question, right? Is MBA needed for a PM?
No, hard no. I had a admission offer from IIM Bangalore when I was at Grofers. The only question I asked, do I want to be in product management? The answer was yes. I said no. So as simple, no to an MBA. Yeah, so hard no. I think yes, I could have been more analytical about business sense had I done an MBA. I personally feel if I want to learn this, I will learn that. Nothing stops me from learning it. So MBA, अब तो मतलब I'm starting to question college as well, because so तो MBA तो hard no. You're losing money. Net for PM for sure. Your core skill is understanding user. MBA doesn't teach you empathy, I don't think. It gives you experiences of empathy, of course, any experience does. But core is, MBA teaches you business, hopefully, business sense, etc. But core skill तो आपका user ही है, user understanding. In fact, spend 2 years talking to all users that you can talk. That might give you better ROI than an MBA for a PM. There are I think careers that would require MBA.
Yeah.
I personally don't feel PM requires MBA. PM doesn't also require engineering.
PM is basically you need to have empathy and roadmap.
Roadmap is like long-term thinking, right? Yeah, absolutely. Solve for the long term, not for today. Not for just today. Yeah.
Got it. Done.
Cool.
Thanks a lot for.
Thank you so much, Shrey. Loved the conversation. बहुत मजा आया.
Got it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.